Hey everybody, what's up? This is Devin, LaVore, and
Michelle LaVore
with our number 6 video, or our video on the prophetic number 6 and how God can use the 6 to try to communicate with you and highlight your life with what He's saying to you.
Yes.
Does that make sense? So for us, once again, the number 6, we never just see a number 6. And we have had occurrences where God has shown us the 66 and the 666, right? And it's this is probably going to be the briefest video of all the numbers videos because we just don't experience it that much. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times when we do, I will start with the triple sixes, because I remember back in September, October-ish, about this time last year, I was like, man, we're not seeing the 6s at all. We don't really see the 6s hardly ever. And sure enough, don't ever say that unless you want to start seeing that number. We start seeing the triple sixes, remember? Yeah. And we were freaking out. And I was like, oh no, what does that mean? Are you saying the devil's going to try to come and attack me or sift me like wheat or something like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And God was like, bro, first off, there are no devil numbers.
Yeah.
They are my numbers. Mm-hmm. God or the devil will take the numbers and mess with them, and he'll, just like he does with anything, he'll pervert it and twist it. Anything I create, that's what he does. And it's like, yeah, there's numbers that have been stolen, and yes, the number of the beast and his government and all that stuff, it is 666, but it doesn't always mean that, you know. Yeah. And it's like, I was like, okay. And then the Lord went on to show me, like, let me give you an example. And this is what I'm saying to you with the 666 in your life right now as I'm trying to help you grow in this thing that I'm showing you. And it comes from Isaiah 66, verse 6. You want to read it?
Sure.
Okay.
It says, "Hark, an uproar from the city, a voice from the temple, the voice of the Lord rendering recompense to his enemies." Boom.
The voice of the Lord. Not the voice of the enemy. It's the voice of the Lord rendering recompense to his enemies. So a lot of times, basically every time the Lord brings that up, he's just trying to alert us like, hey, my voice is going forth and it's declaring things against the enemy. I'm prophesying against the enemy. I'm telling him what's going to happen and how he's going to be destroyed. And I am rendering recompense to the enemy. Because a lot of times it seems like the God will seem silent when the enemy's like super loud. But there comes a point where God's like, enough. This is what I'm going to do. Kind of like when Jesus went into the temple and started overturning the tables. That was the voice of the Lord rendering recompense to his enemies, you know, paying them back what he owed them, you know, and it's like he's making a way for us.
So for the 66, we actually just recently saw this maybe a couple weeks ago, and it ended up being, we went to Psalm 66 and just kind of read through, and it's really just this psalm about the Lord, just to be joyful, to sing before the Lord, and because of the works that he has done, his works of displaying himself for his people. And so honestly, we read that, and it really just became this great just prayer psalm for us. Like we were just kind of praying through and thanking the Lord and singing praises to him for the works that he is going to do.
Which kind of confirms what I felt like the Lord was showing me is like the 66. It's like, how many books are there in the Bible? There's 66. So it's like when you see that, it's just like, it's like, hey, you need to remember the totality, the A to Z of God's love displayed to mankind. You know, you need to know like all of it, you know, because the 66 is the books of the Bible and it displays everything.
Yeah.
It's like I'm showing you from before sin to the cross to the end. It's like it's all victory. It's all the Lord's love. It's all of that, you know?
Yeah. So even in that regards, it really is kind of a number to remind you that God is faithful to complete that which he started, and which goes into Isaiah 66
from before you were born.
Verses 7, basically 8, 9, but especially verse 9 is talking about God's just like, am I going to bring you to the moment of birth and not have a baby come forth?
Are you serious right now? Hot off the press. This page is on 1066.
In our Bible.
Are you serious? In our Bible, anyway. Our what is it? Amplified Classic Edition.
Yeah.
It's on page 1066. Never noticed that until just now. Bam.
That's funny. But yeah, so it's like God is a God of completion. He is going to, what
Fullness.
He started, He is going to finish.
Yeah.
And so that's really kind of what the 66 have been for us. And yeah, that's really, I think, about it as far as our experiences with the coming to the 6's and just kind of what God's shown us.
Yeah, and it's funny because there was a time when we were coming back from a trip on a bus. I was like, Lord, you know what? It's interesting. I've never, some people, they say that you show them like Hebrew letters and stuff. It's like, you've never done that for us. It's like, it's always been like, numbers. It's like, it'd be cool to see some letters or something more, show me more creativity type stuff that you do. And sure enough, on my way back, I saw these, what I thought were Hebrew letters. I was like, I wasn't, at the time that it happened, I wasn't thinking about it or praying about it or wanting it or whatever. And I saw it, and long story short, it ended up turning out to be 668. And I was like, what in the world? This is crazy. So even in that, God was showing me basically Isaiah 66:8.
Yeah.
About, like, you want to read that part?
Yeah, it says, who has heard of such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall a land be born in one day, or a nation be brought forth in a moment? For as soon as Zion was in labor, she brought forth her children.
Yeah. So it was like, at that time, it was God saying, like, I'm going to do this. You know, it was still in that same spirit of the 66. What the 66 is communicating, like, it's not a number of fullness or anything like that. It's more of just a number of, like, I almost want to say it's like a number of remembrance. It's like a number of, like, masterpiece, like, because on the 6th day, it was man that was created. Everything else was created, but then on the 6th day, he created the purpose for which everything else was created. It's almost like the earth and all that stuff, that was just the house. That was just a framework. Now let's bring in the whole point of it all, which was man.
Yeah.
In relationship with man. This is what we're going to live, So it's kind of like that, you might feel like you're in a wilderness place or whatever, and but God's developing a relationship with you so he can develop framework outside of your eyesight so that he can bring you into the thing he wants to bring you into. So hope you guys got something out of that.
Yeah.
That's our 6's video.
All right, we'll see you again soon.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.